Are we on again? Hello everybody.
Happy New Year.
Hello again. Sorry about that. We just got slightly swamped with a technical hitch. I was just in the middle of saying we're changing the format slightly for today's session. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you like it. We've been listening to some of our lovely clients and viewers. So give us a comment, give us a thumbs up if it's moving closer towards the format that you guys are hoping to see. So, do you want to do the introduction to Sandler and Miami?
Sure, Sandler, Miami. We train and coach and teach salespeople and sales managers and managers in general how to be better managers, better salespeople. We focus almost exclusively on the top line of the business, and we help business owners who have got some success but have a real stretch ambition. And at the moment we're focused on people's 2017 planning and trying to make 2017 the best year that it can be for our wonderful clients. We're based here in Miami, just near Coral Gables. A lot of our clients we support remotely, and a lot of our clients we support that are right here in Miami. We have clients across the globe, I would say. We do. I own the business along with my brother and business partner Antonio. I'm Carlos Garrido, and we've been helping people grow their business for more years than I care to think about. Is there anything I've missed? No. And anybody can come and see what it is we do, because what we do is kind of special and kind of unique and kind of unusual.
How did they do that?
How would they do that? They would follow that link. Look at the link. The link is a bit.ly link. You would go to that address, www.bit.ly/SMCAC. That seems like a mouthful, SMCAC. What that stands for is Sandler Miami Crash a Class.
You got to have a system.
So Crash a Class is what it will take you to, and that's an open invitation for people to come and sample what it is that we do to help people develop their sales skills and their business development skills.
Yeah, so if you like what you see and what you hear and you want to know more, click on that, register yourself. It's every Monday at noon. You can come here. Do you want to give them a quick zoom around? Come here and see how we do it, what we do, what our clients love about us, and you're doing that very professionally, Judy.
You'd be crazy if you didn't take us up on the offer.
Okay, so let's go straight to question one, Judy. Who have we got? What have we got? Who wants some help today?
So Jane from Hollywood, Florida asks, I work for a flooring company and I'm meeting with prospects next week for my question is, what is a good way to prepare for a meeting? What are some good questions I can ask?
Good question, Jane. That's a good question you could ask, Jane. So hello, welcome. Jane, pop in whenever you like. We actually need some help with our flooring. Okay, so you've got a meeting and you want to prepare for your meeting, you want to ask some good questions. So two things spring to mind for me. The first two things I think are link with your prospect on LinkedIn in advance of that meeting. So you've got a meeting on Monday, you connect with them, send an invitation, a connection request prior to that Monday and say, hey Frank, looking forward to seeing you on Monday, let's connect. I'd like to add you to my professional network, professionals, whatever it is on LinkedIn. Then what you need to do is have a look at his connections and what groups he's involved in, where he went to school, who company he works for. So there's a ton of information on LinkedIn that can help you start putting together some good questions. So definitely link with him on LinkedIn first. Look at his profile. A ton of questions are going to turn out. Last thing to talk about, I think, is there are two types of questions to be asking Frank or whoever it is when you meet. And they're what we call strategic questions and tactical questions. You need a bunch of both. You need some really good strategic questions, like tell me about the business, how long you've been going, that kind of stuff. The stuff that you can't obviously get from LinkedIn, they're the tactical questions, how many branches you've got, all that kind of stuff. And then some good strategic questions, right? So strategic questions could be, where do you see the business in the next 5 years' time? What what's impacting the business more than anything else right now, who are your biggest competitors, how are you finding ways to differentiate yourself, those kind of things. So think of some strategic questions, some tactical questions. Use LinkedIn to formulate your tactical questions, and come crash a class and we'll teach you how to figure out some strategic questions. Anything to add?
Nope, it's good.
Cool, thanks Jane. So there's a new segment, I'm advised. I have a running order here. So there's a new segment which is all about the Sandler Rules, 49, that's right, 49, Timeless Selling Principles and How to Apply Them. This is a book that we use a lot of, it's the Wall Street Journal bestseller. We use a lot of the principles in this when you come to crash a class. And we're going to go through these for the next few weeks. We're going to take them in order. If you want to get the book, Amazon's a good place to go, the Sandler Rules. And
Our website too.
oh, on our website too. Yeah, into the resources tab. Carlos, number one. Rule number one. You have to learn to fail to win. What's that all
Rule
about?
number one, you have to learn to fail to win. As you can see, we have around our class some of our favourite rules put on the top, and you have to learn to fail to win is one of our timeless rules. I come at this from two directions. First one is you learn a lot in failure, and I'm always reminded of my colleague Rochelle Carrington, who explained to me once that success is usually the confluence of an awful lot of things that go right, and failure is typically one thing that goes wrong. So looking at your failures can be far more educational, and you can learn a lot more from failures than you can from successes, because you can really target and you can really sort of sniper shot the one thing that went wrong in a failure. That's the first way I think about it. Second way I think about it is failure is scary, and it's the fear of failure that's getting in the way of a lot of activity. A great example of that is prospecting. We speak a lot about prospecting, about keeping your pipeline full. It isn't until you have no fear of failure, and you get that, you build that muscle through failing. So once you've got no fear of failure, then you can really come at the activities that you know are important to you. A good example, as I say, is prospecting. When you're not scared of failure in prospecting, you can in fact prospect a lot more efficiently, effectively, and with much more regularity. Did I cover both those things?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's pretty good.
So you've got to learn. You've got to be not scared of failure. You do that by failing, and you learn a lot from failure, a lot more if you're minded to do so.
Just to add, tiny thing that I thought you were going to go. There's an expression that we have, which is success equals failure plus persistence, right? So success equals failure plus persistence. So
I actually thought I was doing number two, which is why I wasn't prepared for number one. But I'm telling you, tell us around number two. We haven't got number two.
We have.
Oh, we have. Number two is over there. Should we show by the submarine? In fact, show our new submarine. How ace is our new submarine? That's our Sandler selling system in the submarine. And rule 2: do not spill your candy in the lobby.
So you thought you were going to do this?
I thought I was going to do that, but go ahead.
Well, it's an interesting principle that basically it was born of the fact, you know, when you go to the movies and you get a whole thing of popcorn and you're really looking forward to it, and then what happens is you meet kind of like a little wrinkle in the carpet and you kind of take a tumble and all your popcorn spills out. So don't spill your candy in the lobby is basically don't give away too much stuff too soon, right? And what we're tempted to do as sales and business professionals is we want to show up and throw up, right? It's not a very pleasant way of describing it. What we tend to do is we'll sit in front of a prospect or even a client, and we'll just talk and give too much away too soon. We also call that unpaid consultancy. We spend a lot of our time here in class teaching people how not to be an unpaid consultant, and how could they best learn how to do that?
Do you know they could crash a class?
They could crash a class.
There's our link. There's our link. Crash a class. You know, it's interesting. I was with a new client this morning, law office. So if anybody from the law firm is watching, hi again. And I was talking to their junior lawyers. Because lawyers are a great example. They believe that if they are with a prospect and they wax lyrical about the law and prove themselves to be the smartest lawyers, most diligent lawyers, and essentially with a prospect, treat the prospect like a client and solve the prospect's problems essentially there, live, while selling, they believe that that proof will make somebody want to buy their services, and it's been proven time and time again that is spilling candy in the lobby.
There you go.
That isn't why people buy. People don't buy solutions, they buy problems, and helping prospects understand their problems better is what people really buy.
Now I see you were better prepared for that.
I was better prepared for that.
No, you were better prepared. That's a really good answer. Okay. So question 2, what have we got, Jude?
Gabriel from Miami asks, could you give me a tip on how to be more successful and effective this year? I am a rep for a national financial planning company.
Ooh, financial planners. Love. Can I take this one?
Yeah.
Love working with financial planners. Love working with insurance agents and financial planners for some of the same reasons as we've already discussed. They are very often unpaid consultants. They spend a long time helping and solving their prospects' problems, and not enough time with them as actual clients because they avoid the sale. So I've only got a couple of minutes for this, and I would say you asked Gabriel for some advice, and I would say this. Prospecting is going to be the key to the lock. It is for nearly all financial planners. Prospecting, keeping a pipeline full of prospects, is what's going to be the difference between a great year and a mediocre year. What does that look like? Well, we develop cookbooks with our clients that are their prospecting cookbooks. Where might somebody see how to develop a cookbook?
One thing springing to mind.
Crash a class.
Crash a class.
They could crash a class and see how we ask us how we develop cookbooks for clients. But I want to give you something, Gabriel, rather than just that to go away with. And I would say, if you made it your business this year to ask for referrals at every interaction, that means clients, prospects, it means networking events, it means centers of influence. If you were to ask for a referral from everybody you met in the next 12 months, you would find that you could put 2, 3, 4x on your business for the year. And we see it especially with financial planners because you have so many interactions on a daily basis that if you just got into the habit of asking for a referral, well, there's a way of asking, you'll find that you will put a real rocket fuel in your engine for 2017. But there's so much more I'd love to talk to you about, David.
Can I just have one more thing to
Yeah,
that?
please.
So asking for a referral, I mean, that's just rocket fuel. And you probably sat there or driving or whatever it is, however you're listening to us. Was it Gabriel? But you know what? And this surprises some of our financial planners when we tell them, you can even, and not you can even, you should even, you must ask for a referral even on a cold call. Let me just give you what that scripting sounds like. So even if you're making a cold call, or when you're making your cold calls, even if they're not interested, before you put the phone down, it's very easy to say, okay, great, thanks. What you should be doing instead was using some language that sounds something like this. Do you know what, Frank, that's okay. You know, we can't help everybody, but, you know, clearly I can't help you today. But maybe you can help me. Who is it that you're thinking of that looks or sounds like, you know, the 30-second commercial that you just gave before? So use the expression that clearly I can't help you today, but maybe you can help me. Who do you know that looks like X, Y, Z?
And you know what? If you've done a great cold call, they owe you one. They owe you one for saying no.
Yeah. Nice.
So James Stevenson asked for Antonio.
Hi, James. How you doing, man?
How do you see sales techniques differ between the US and the UK?
That's such a good question.
Culture.
How do I answer that without upsetting either the British or the Americans? James, that's such a great question. Do you know there are some differences? I think that Americans are very. See, how do I do this without upsetting?
Don't upset.
I was going to say I think they're very much more goal-oriented. and I think they're also very much more direct. I think the British can be a little circumspect with the language that they use.
Like you just were.
Like I just was. There you go. Right. So, but at the end of the day, if you're doing your job properly, when coming back to the submarine that Jubelka had a look at before, which is our sales process, the start of the sales process is all about bonding and rapport. And it's your job as a sales professional to make sure that you're connecting with the individual, whether they're from America, from the UK, from Spain, or from wherever. So you have to speak in their language, in their way, match their tonality, match their language, match their profile types, match whether they're a visual, an auditory, a kinesthetic, and all that kind of stuff. Now, James, I know you can't come and crash a class because you're all the way over in the UK. I saw your photo, by the way, your doggy's photo that was on the news. Congratulations. Just the other day. So, but we can webinar you in and you can see the difference there. We'll make that work. But thanks for the question, James. Thank you, man.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Goal
yes,
setting.
Carlos again.
No, we need to talk about goal setting.
Oh, go.
Goal setting. We did promise at the beginning that we
Yeah.
would, because we're at the beginning of a new year, we should all be minded to think very carefully about what our goals are for 2017. And so, Antonio, let me ask you this. If I was a client of yours and I said, you know, I'm really struggling to pull together a robust set of goals that I walk the tightrope between what's got ambition in it and what is setting myself up for failure. How would I walk that tightrope?
Oh, wow. So that's a really good question. I think the way I would answer that is, so first of all, I'd think about where are the buckets that I need to set my goals for. So let's assume that you're, I don't know, let's assume you're a sales manager, for the sake of argument.
Yep.
So it's slightly specific about who asked. But so the 5 buckets I would think about are, you know, if you kind of draw a cross, draw yourself in the middle, I would have some goals for me and my boss. So looking up, so I'd have some boss goals, right? I'd have some goals for me and my boss. I'd have some goals to the left of me between me and my peers, so I'd have some goals in terms of my organization.
Yeah.
I'd then have some goals for to the right of me for my clients or suppliers, right? So I need some client goals. Then I'd have some goals for myself, and they are often very much missed out, the ones that you have for your own in terms of your own development, your own growth. And then I'd have some goals between, you know, that out for the people that work for me. So I'd consider which buckets of goals I need to have, and I'd make sure that I have the right number of goals. And what do I mean by that? You know, it's very easy to set ourselves 50 goals and achieve none. So I think you've got to keep the number very tight, the number of goals that you have. Everybody needs to be very specific about those goals. So, you know, take a goal, but then be very specific about the plan to achieve that goal. And then I think, coming back to the question, I think it's really important to then make sure, if you don't track, if you don't measure and track and rinse and repeat and measure and fine tune and track, if you don't constantly measure your goals and track and fine tune, you've got no idea as to whether or not you're kind of got any chance of getting there or not. I think Mario Andretti, I think it was, who was the race car driver that said, he said, if you're not terrified going through the corners, you're not going fast enough, right? So we can all set ourselves easy goals, right? So I think there have to be stretch goals. You never achieve anything by operating in your comfort zone. So they've got to be tricky. They've got to be difficult. They've always got to be moving the flag forward. I don't know. What do you think? Did that go some way?
Yeah, I like that Mario Andretti quote.
Okay.
And I believe that you once said something to me that was good. What was that? Columbus School of Business, which is if you don't have goals, you're essentially Columbus. You remember that? I don't know where I'm going. I've no idea how I'm going to get there, and I won't know when I'm there, even when I get there.
Right.
It was something like that.
Right.
It was a great quote.
Right.
But you got to have goals. You got to have goals. And I think one of the mistakes that people make is they think of it like the mountain. So they go, I am here, and by December I need to have climbed the mountain, and I want to be here with a flag. Okay? And they think about here, and they think about here, and I believe that's a mistake. I believe that great goal setters break that into its constituent trips. and they really map out what is my near-term goal, what's the next one, how am I going to make the route, what's the route look like. And I think that great goal setters break up the journey. They don't think base camp to the top of Everest. They break it into the days of the journey, and we encourage our clients to think about annual goals on a quarterly basis. You do that all the time.
12 weeks.
12 weeks.
We all have BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, right?
Top of the
That's a
mountain.
BHAG. It's like a French flag, that's France.
I was kind of doing American.
Oh,
I didn't do very well.
Right, okay. So another difference, James, between Britain and England is the flag. So BHAGs, the problem with BHAGs is they're too far, too distant, too big, too woolly, too nebulous, right?
BHAG is a big, hairy,
Audacious goal.
audacious goal. Yeah.
So if you can read the 12-week year, that's an amazing book. Or if you could read The One Thing, both of those are amazing books. What they talk about is, chunk that down. Chunk your BHAG down in terms of smaller elements and closer elements, right? And 12 weeks is the optimal number. So Q1, if you know your 2017 goals, then you should be able to know your Q1 goals. And if you know your Q1 goals, then you know your January goals. If you know your January goals, you know week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. If you know those goals, James will tell you. We could split our goals back into should our revenue be by 12 o'clock today? I think if you can do it to that level of sophistication, you know what the goals look like.
And I tell my clients all the time, you can have a bad day, but you don't have 2 bad days.
Right.
You can have a bad week, but don't have 2 bad weeks.
Right.
And you can have a bad month, don't have 2 bad months. And you can have a bad quarter, don't have 2 bad quarters. Yeah.
Cool. I hope that helps with some goal settings. I don't know what next week's topic's going to be, but we'll figure out something.
I think we lose segment 6.
Okay.
We move straight to segment 7 because we're at the end of our time.
Oh, okay. So if there was another question, sorry about that, we'll get to it next week. So we're going to go to the crash class again.
Go for it. You did it. I did it. You did it.
So for the last time, don't want to over-labor it, but what we've done here today and what we do every week is just give you just kind of micro dots really about what it is that we do. When people meet us, they normally want to know a few things. They normally want to know, how do we do it, how long does it take, and how much does it cost? That's typical, right? The piece that's tricky to describe is how do we do it, and kind of what do we do, and how do we do it? And really, the best way to figure out, whether or not you like a car and you like to drive the car and you like how the car feels and all that kind of stuff is you have to go and kick the tires, right?
Yeah.
You have to go and get in the thing, and you have to go and do a test drive and drive around and see. You can't kind of get it from a brochure. So it's a kind of an open invitation, really, for anybody that's watching that lives in and around Coral Gables, basically in and around Miami, right? 10 miles of zip 33155 or whatever it is. Come along as our guest, our invitation. It's every single Monday we're here. We do lots of classes, but the one we want to invite you to crash is Monday at 12 here in Miami. Our address is on our website, www.absolute.sandler.com. Oh, and Juby tells me it's also down here somewhere. So that's our website. Our address is on there. Just register.
And I want to steal from Roger Wentworth.
Yeah,
I'm going to steal from our colleague Roger Wentworth. You come, you're our guest. We'll treat you as a client. You can ask us anything you want apart from does your stuff work. You're not allowed to ask us does your stuff work. You ask our clients.
Yeah.
We have a little break. You can ask our clients if what we do is any different, because we believe it is very different.
Yeah, so come on, Monday noon as our guest. Let us know that you're coming. Don't turn up with a busload of 30 people because we won't have sandwiches for you. But come along, crash a class Monday. That's the link, and we really look forward to hopefully we'll see you. So, got a wrap. So next week, more of the same. Is it both of us next week? We got the memo this week to wear different shirts, right? So that was the first
so next week, cash a class, and for this week, here's to your success, and it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.